Hello there, fellow summoners. MaddogHT here. Got another Alliance War node video for you. This is node 22. This has power snack, backup recovery, and power focus 1, depending on what tier you're in. This is in the preseason against a ManThing. And generally, my counter for ManThing is thing in general, and then on this node, definitely I pretty much almost all of the fights that I take in the preseason season 21, I use thing because he's immune to nullify, therefore power snack will never come into play. Pretty much you just need to worry about the backup recovery part when you're hitting that 50% mark. And then on this thing, I believe, yes, he actually has a significant amount of Mystic Dispersion, probably 4 out of 5, and that can be pretty problematic, and it makes this fight significantly tougher, because he's always applying those Pew-style debuffs, and when they fall off, they trigger that Mystic Dispersion. And then, so I'm just trying to build up rock stacks. I'm trying to get him to throw specials. I'm trying to parry block as much as I possibly can, because if he doesn't throw his specials, and you're dexing around and you have that extra precision buff falling off, that's just going to trigger more and more and more Mystic Dispersion. So here I'm just trying to, I'm cornered, I'm blocking as much as I can because this guy is getting massive Mystic Dispersion. I haven't even pushed him over the 50% yet. It's going to be there soon, so I have to manage that as well as the Mystic Dispersion. There he just gets pushed in L2. I'm in the corner. I'm trying to kind of be open when he comes out of that parry stun there. Finally he goes and throws that L2. I'm going to push him over backup recovery, and then I gotta hope that this guy throws his special again. This Pew-style debuff's going to fall off and gets a ton of Mystic Dispersion. Now I have the precision, so now I can't even hit him, because if I do, he will go to L3. Finally throws the L2. I mean, this has been a pretty sketchy fight because of how much Mystic Dispersion. It looks 4 out of 5, not 5 out of 5. If it was 5 out of 5, this fight would be pretty dang tough. But I am not, and again, I'm not boosted in the preseason. I don't think on any of these fights I'm going to be boosted, except maybe one, because I had like a 15% attack boost that was expiring. But I was trying to do all the preseason, without any items, without using boosts. We don't do full clears or anything too crazy, trying to conserve and save up for the season. You can see he's got 4 of those Pew-style buffs, 5, 6, and it's just gonna feed when they fall off into that Mystic Dispersion. So that's why I'm blocking these L1s, except that one, just because he's gonna get that extra Mystic Dispersion. So I finally get to within a range where I think I should be able to kill this dude. Probably could have been significantly higher, and boom, that L3 takes off 10%, kills the ManThing. That guy wasn't awakened. It would have been even tougher because he would have been getting that regen. But yeah, ManThing goes down. Next up we have a Mysterio. This is kind of an interesting placement for Thing. It's not too terrible. Pretty much I'm just going to try to push to L2 as much as possible. That way I don't have to deal with that reflection part when he throws his L1, where if you do any damage to him, he will actually heal that back, and then he will reflect that damage back onto you, which is not ideal. So there I push him to an L2, and then I'm just gonna kind of parry block, build up my rock stacks, build up my furies. On all these fights that I'm using Thing on, I do have Human Torch synergy with me, so every time I parry and I'm at 20 rock stacks, I immediately build up my furies. I don't have to wait out the timer, which is very significant with getting your damage ramped up. And then boom, I hear I'm at 60 furies. I'm hammering on this dude. I hit him with an L2, which is going to stun him at 20 rock stacks. It makes it super easy to push to back to his L2. I'm going to try to bait out this dude so that he throws his L2. You get the willpower heal from the power drain. I'm not really concerned about getting power drained with Thing because he just gets a lot of raw damage from having those furies built up. And yeah, we're trying to get this guy to throw a special, because I don't want to hit him at 50% and then to have the backup recovery push him to L3. So there we get the backup recovery. He's getting some power, and now we're going to go ham on this dude, try to get him back to L2, and we do. And we're going to try to bait that L2 again and get some willpower heal. So I mean, as long as you can kind of keep him to the L2, I think generally speaking, it's not too terrible of a fight. If you get him to throw those L1s, I mean, this guy is not throwing his L2, that's for sure. There he goes, he throws it. Trying to think if I try to get an L2 off here. Yes, I think. Once I get him close to an L1, boom, hit him L2, 20 rock stacks. He would have gotten stunned had that not killed him, but it killed him. So that's a pretty simple fight. I think I have a season 22 fight where I have a Mysterio and I pretty much get the same result. Now here is a Doom. I don't like fighting Doom on this node. I don't like fighting Doom in general, but power snack, and the backup recovery. This is a long fight, and just heads up, I don't do well. I mean, I did, for this one, I did throw on a 15% attack boost. In a season, I would have been boosted out the wazoo. I mean, this guy's a rank 2 Doom, so it's not rank 5. The fact that he's unawakened really doesn't impact using Thing much because he's shock immune. But the thing is this guy, I'm trying to think, I need to look to see what kind of willpower this guy has. Yeah, not willpower, Mystic Dispersion. It looks like he probably has like 3 out of 5, which is fairly significant. And I got clipped on that first L1, which is not ideal. I'm trying to keep him to the L1s just because I'm shock immune, and I feel like it's easier to evade. And there, boom, I get hit at the very end of that. Not even the end of that, but I get hit. So I'm getting those incinerates put on. I activated my heavy to mitigate the damage that I was taking from the incinerates. So I have protection up and it's helping a little bit. And so now I'm at 34% to his 82%. It's not looking good. Not looking good at all. And I mean, this is a stubborn fight too, so I got to keep up those indestructibles. And yeah, this guy, and I just totally I didn't like dex that one at all. I think I was pretty flustered at this point after eating that L2. I'm just thinking to myself, there's no way that I'm gonna have enough health to get out of this. I get clipped at the end of that L1. Yeah, I do get that one dexed, but I only have so many indestructibles left and only 8% health. And if he's not throwing, I'm not going to be able to dex enough. I mean, I haven't got him to backup recovery yet, so this really kind of sucked. But not that big of a deal. This is preseason. We're just kind of practicing. And yeah, but I do have another Doom at the very end. It's the last war of the season, and it was a rank 3 Doom. And just wait till you see that one. That one was a fun one. It's close. But here I'm just trying to get him to bait his special one, because I don't want to push him to the backup recovery and potentially get L3'd. Yeah, and I died. So I'm like, do I go and use Torch or do I use Doom? And based on the rest of the stuff that I was planning on taking, I'm like, well, I'm just going to use Doom and try him out because I do need Torch. And I just don't want to die with Torch. So I go in with Doom, thinking, yeah, I can do this. Get some power steals off and should be able to do well. But man, the damage is pretty peanuts. So pretty much gonna need to get to L3 or L2. And here we get the backup recovery. It is nice that Doom is a stubborn defender as well. I mean, you get the benefit of the indestructibles as a stubborn attacker. Totally just eat a combo to the face. Yeah, just is not, this fight did not go well. I usually don't play this terrible against Doom. Here I'm just trying to keep him locked down as far as the power goes. And I get tagged. It's just like getting tagged over and over and over again. Anyways, this is not a good example. Here I do finally get off an L2. And let's get some pretty good damage there. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get that. I need to get some power steal though. Don't. And we dex out of the last part of that. Don't get any incinerates on. But man, I've eaten that combo, gotten clipped a few times. I got no health left. And yeah, I'm not sure what I'm trying. I think I'm trying to make sure that I can get to another L2 here. Yeah, I do. I light him up. And do I get dexed out of this? Nope. And I die. Again, 18% left. He's in the Assassin's Reign, so I go back in with Torch and a few hits and this dude's dead. Super ugly fight. I think that's like the only times I might have died in the preseason. And as far as the season goes, I only died like 3-4 times out of 150 fights. I'm gonna have to tally them up, but there he goes down. Finally goes down. Open up, going into tier 2 for the rest of the team. Man, that was ugly. Let's redeem ourselves with some good fighting, and let's get on to this next fight. All right, so next up we got another preseason war. On the 4th war, I think there was like a Fury or something, and we had somebody with either AA or somebody take him on this node. So I'm going in on this next war. It's War 5 in the preseason against Claire, and this is a pretty easy fight. Her L1 bleeds will help build some Furies. It's going to take down some of the rock stacks, but not that big of a deal. So she's going to get some extra power gain, but eventually she's going to get up to 20 of her charges, and then she won't be getting that extra power gain. She can put slow on like 50% of the time on her L2, which really isn't a big deal at all. But you can see like boom, it's just like power gain. And yeah, not that big of a deal. L1s are pretty easy to evade. And did this, looks like a little bit of Mystic Dispersion on this Claire, but I'm just going to keep pushing her to L1s and slowly build up the Furies. I'm going to throw off an L3 while she's stunned. I think immediately I'll go right back in to get some damage off. And then you just got to be aware of that 50% threshold. You just want to always make sure that you're far away as far as the power meter goes, because you don't want to have that accidentally push him to L3. You see, this is pretty simple fight, just smashing away, getting those L1s, going right back in, and nothing too crazy here. And getting into a pretty good flow. I'm still not maxed out on the rocks, on the Furies though, so that has her bleeds have kind of minimized building up those more easily, just because of her power gain and the bleeds and everything. So there she throws an L2. I don't get the buff immunity, which would have actually been kind of nice, because then I could have got some willpower heal. And yeah, so it's not too bad. I'm gonna finish her off with this L3. I believe it should kill her. Yes, it does. So Clairvoyant in the bin. Yeah, really easy option to use Thing against that fight. Alright, this is the last preseason war, and I'm not sure which one of my teammates had already gone in here, but they went in to try to do this fight and they failed. So I'm coming in to finish it off. I really hate Domino, just because the crit fail damage. I'm not too worried about, the block damage and everything. It's just, whenever you try to block something, you're going to be building up rock stacks. Whenever you happen to dex, if I throw off a special where I'm going to get the unstoppable and the unblockable, she can just crit fail that, and you're going to take some pretty decent damage. You got to watch out for those lucky evades. But Thing is my go-to to fight this one. It's just that, you're going to take significantly more damage just because of the crit fail than on a normal fight, even without getting hit. Yeah, and so here, trying to be careful with that evade up, shorten stun. But, she only had a little less than 50% health, and I lost 35%. Didn't get hit, just all crit fail and then some block damage. But that kind of sucks. That's why I hate Domino. Alright, so here we are, Season 21. This is War number 1. This is where we're getting into the real stuff. I am going to be boosted. Yeah, I'm pretty much triple boosted like that for almost every fight of the season, just because of those solo events and those crystals that you get, and get tons of boost, and you get the boost from doing the solos. Here we're going up against a ManThing again. This one is awakened, so he's going to get some regen when he gets under 50%. I'm just kind of going ham right now. And I don't remember if I looked to see if this dude had Mystic Dispersion ahead of time. Here I go in, and yes, he does. It looks like maybe about 3 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion, so a little bit more manageable than the other one that I had going up against. So you really just got to be careful, make sure that you manage that power, and you keep a track on your dexes and the Pew style buffs that will expire and trigger Mystic Dispersion. On this one, I was trying to be more aggressive and hoping that he would throw his specials a little more readily than that first fight, and so far so good. I'm gonna hold on to that special 3 just because it will kind of let me get some spacing if I need it, and it does have that unstoppable and unblockable, which will trigger Mystic Dispersion when they end up falling off. But here I've just been a lot more aggressive, trying to keep him over on his side, and he's been throwing the specials pretty well. Here I'm trying to get him to throw off that L1. Now his power is pretty minimized. Gonna trigger the backup recovery, bait some more specials, and then just kind of be more aggressive again. But look at all those six Pew styles, and they're gonna start falling off and start feeding them some power. I'm gonna stall and wait. So yeah, this ManThing is a kind of a pain. If you have Mystic Dispersion, he can be a pain to fight on this node here. There's some regen. The regen's not too bad. I mean, 62 a tick, nothing too much to worry about, but it's gonna take an extra couple hits to chip off this regen healing that he's got. And yeah, it's just like special after special, and I couldn't even imagine, like, if this was, I don't know, I know you can use Quake. I'm not sure who else you would use that could power control this, because the power snack, that would just be a nightmare if you had to deal with the power snack. But I do have a ton of those destructible buffs up from doing those parries, which is nice. That way, if I have to like dance around at all, I'm still going to be able to do damage. And then towards the end here, I think I'm just going to light him up with an L3. I probably should have done that before that, but this should kill him if I remember right. The last time, yeah, we had him with an L3 at 10% and it killed him. This one guy was at 9, definitely killed him. I have to figure out like how much damage I could do to kill off somebody, especially when I'm like an assassin. I probably could even go like 15, 18% and it would do it. Bit there, that Havok goes down. War number 2 of season 21, we have a Havok, and I'm bringing Warlock in for this one, and not using Thing. I think Thing could do this fight, as long as you really push him to L2s, and keep those plasmas from building. I think he could do really well, but Warlock is just really good because the power drain, he's got that permanent armor up. And yeah, I mean, he just does, or he's one of the best counters. And you just need to make sure that you can, so far, the power snack ate up the original armor up. The power snack, also ate up the second armor up, but I was able to get that armor up applied, and it's going to be there for the rest of the fight, so I don't have to worry about, the detonations. And even though this guy's just spamming his L1, it doesn't really matter. My blocks are going to be power draining him. I believe this guy didn't have willpower. Yeah, he didn't, which would have made this fight even easier, just because you'd constantly have that degen and the power drain because of the bleeds and the armor breaks. But it's just all about evading those L1s, and they're just going to keep coming. I'm going to put bleeds on him. The bleeds do a really good amount of damage. It's just like special after special after special. Trying to get some double parries in, and the stun was failing on a couple of those. There, we hit him off with an L2, and we've already pushed him under that the backup recovery, and just trying to bait his specials, and on the heavies, retaliate with a heavy on Warlock, which get the bleeds. And yeah, this fight's going pretty well. A little bit of chip damage, 9%, 10%, and finish him off with an L2. And I was boosted. I did have that invulnerability boost active. That was just in case if he got really stingy and L3'd me, because if he L3'd me, it's lights out. It's game over. This is War 3. This was a fun fight. So we were trying to debate, like, who should we use on this fight? Obviously, Thing wouldn't be an ideal option just because the reverb and the class disadvantage. And so I was like, you know what? I think Void can do this fight, even with the class disadvantage. But what one thing that Void has going for him is the Petrifies. So if you can get Petrifies up on this dude, and then once you get Fear of the Void, when you parry, you're going to be power draining. And so I did a Power Start 1 boost, and I went straight for a Petrify. And then I'm just going to be doing a lot of parrying, build up the indestructibles, and try not to trigger, you know, the dexes that will pretty much give him the indestructibles. But I already have 7 destructibles, so I can dex around a little bit. And I got 2 petrifies, so pretty much on every parry that I have, he will not be gaining power like he normally does. And if I happen to dex, the power snack isn't going to do anything anymore, because that power gain is going to be negated by the petrify. So now I got Fear of the Void on, and we're going to throw on another L1. We're unlucky there, we haven't got a petrify yet. And I'm just going to be parrying this dude, and there I do trigger the reverb when he has some significant power, so I'm trying not to hit him as much, but you know, you get cornered, you got to get out of there. But now I have petrify up, so now I can just parry this dude, and every time he gets parried, he's going to get power drained. The backup recovery does nothing, and so now I got double Fear of the Void. So now I'm hitting hard, I'm power draining, and yeah, so it was really nice. This is just showing you like how good he is. Now if I would have got some petrifies with Fear of the Void up early on either one of these, which I didn't, it would have gone even smoother. So I mean, I am taking some damage, but it's nothing too terrible. And Killmonger goes down. So 39% health loss, no hits taken. I'd say that's pretty smooth and clean fight. I'm not sure who else you guys would use, and AA would probably work. Yeah, I don't know, but Void worked. So next up we got a Storm Pyramid X, and you know, this fight, I don't like fighting Storm Pyramid X. Her L1's fairly easy to evade. L2, I don't have that evade timing down yet, and it can hurt. And I'm boosting up. I'm gonna go in with Thing, and it gets a little sketchy towards the middle, but I do pull this thing off. I thought I was gonna get L3'd. But yeah, let's go into this. So, you know, pretty much I'm just gonna try to keep pushing her to her L1. Gonna build up the rock stacks, which is going to build up my Furies, get my damage in.
Can you get that for me?
Yes. She's going to be glancing quite a bit, but once you kind of get Thing built up, you know, when she doesn't glance, the damage is pretty good. So so far so good. We're evading those L1s. We're building up our rock stacks. We throw in L2, boom. That gets some really solid damage in, and
just about.
Then we're gonna just kind of cycle back through, getting some blocks in to build up damage. And I'm having trouble parrying right there. But yeah, so here we're kind of back up to the max rock stacks almost.
Did you guys eat
Next
dinner?
parry would get it, trying to get her to bait a special. She's just not having it. So now I'm in the corner. So this is where it gets a little sketchy. I felt like, I'm like, okay, come on. I'm going to have to evade that L1. No, I'm just going to push her, get her away from me, and hopefully she throws an L2. I activate protection. Of course, she waits till after the protection is up, but because that L2 was going to hit so hard, it re-triggered the protection, which was nice. So I was like, oh, that was sweet. Get a nice little L1 dex, being cornered there. We're gonna trigger the backup recovery right here, and this is where it gets sketchy again. Oof. I don't know why. You know, the timing is the same, but it just feels different when you're backed up against the wall and you're not actually moving. Where I'm just like, ugh. So here, trying to get away from this chick and get some space, but she is just not having it. We're almost push her to L3, and I'm just like, okay, come on, throw your L2, because I'm pretty certain my L3 will not kill her. And I don't know I don't think it can get glanced. I think it's just the basic hits that get glanced. Special hits won't get glanced. But here now I'm just like dancing in the corner, and she's getting some heal. There we go. From all those parry stuns. And then here we're going to throw off that L3 and see how much it actually does do. She goes from 25 to what? 9. So what? 16%. And she was still stunned. And so
you're in the back of my truck. All right, let me just pack this up.
Get the kill. Pretty clean. No hits taken. Took some chip damage, but got her down. Next up, we got in War 5, we have a Captain Marvel movie. And I thought this was an interesting placement. I'm pretty confident in fighting her. I just pretty much try to stick to the L1s. And, you know, he can't get power snacked. So I just got to watch for that backup recovery and kind of play around that. And then whenever she builds up to 10 or more of her binary charges, I'm just going to knock her down so that she doesn't get too many binary charges where she'll get the indestructible. Because that's the last thing that you want, is to have her go indestructible and be unblockable and all that stuff. And basically, you just have to wait it out, and that's just a pain. So I'm going to try to keep baiting her L1s out. She's not having it there. She finally releases that L1. She's got 6 charges. I'm going to knock her down with a nice L2 stunner. And I'm not going to throw L1s at all for sure, because I do have the torch synergy, and that applies an incinerate, and you do not want to incinerate this chick. She's going to get a lot of binary charges. So I think I'm going to try to do a heavy knockdown sometime soon. Maybe after this next L1, because I don't want her to go indestructible. I'm pretty sure I do knock her down, and maybe I push her to 20 something, and I haven't been paying attention. And now I'm backed up. She's got an L2 ready. Okay, at least she didn't go indestructible. She wasn't indestructible for that. Backup recovery. I'm in the corner just like trying to survive this. Not fun. There we go. I think now she's going to be indestructible because she's over 20. Let's see. This is not how I would have originally played this, now that I'm looking back at the fight. But I'm going to throw off this L3, get some space. Yeah, so now she's indestructible. She's fully unblockable. I totally missed that, and like, it's not even worth hitting her right now. So I'm going to wait that out and then get some damage in. So yeah, definitely would have knocked her down well before she hit 20. Not that like dodging her L1 is tricky with the unblockable, but you know, sometimes the L2 timing can be sketchy, and you don't want that to be unblockable, because if you get hit, then you get stunned, and yeah, it just doesn't turn out very good. Gonna hit her with an L2, kill her off. So got the job done. Definitely would have done it a little bit differently. Going back in. Next up, we got another Domino. This is war number 6 in season 21. This is a rank 3 Domino. Sig level is actually pretty high for a 6-star, 93. And I'm going in with Thing, and I'm boosted, triple boosted. And I'm just hoping that I don't take too much crit fail damage, and that, yeah, and just right there, like, I backed up off the stun, and then I go right back in, and I get parried, and I get clipped. Like, that's not, like, that is a bad way to start this fight, because you need all the health that you can possibly get, because you can take a ton of damage from this chick, without having taken hits, whether you're dexing specials, whether you're doing any kind of action that gets you some type of ability. She can crit fail that and just yeah, it just sucks. Like, even on that parry on that block, you're just taking damage. Just not fun. Fighting Domino sometimes, it just makes you super frustrated. It would be interesting to maybe use like a Mysterio, but you're going to trigger Dexes and trigger the power snack, give her extra power. But yeah, he could do okay. He's got the L2 power drain, but Thing is still my go-to here, just because you don't have to deal with power snack. And yeah, we're getting our Furies up there. We're gonna light her off. The L2 stun with the 20 rock stacks doesn't happen. Gets crit failed, which is unfortunate. We're getting close to the 50% threshold, so I gotta watch out for the backup recovery. And she's got that lucky. She's got evaded me twice. Yeah, just Domino. We're about even right now. We just triggered backup recovery. It's 52 to 47%. I hit her when she's lucky. Luckily, I didn't get evaded on the initial part of that L2. And we're out damaging her. Haven't taken a hit after that first clip of the fight. But man, look at that damage. It's just... And if I wasn't triple boosted, this would be a definitely... I'd probably be dead by now and not have done nearly as much damage. Maybe not dead, but it'd be close. And we're almost to taking this one out, and she's at 12%. I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it. Boom, kill her off with an L2. So rank 3 Domino taken down by my thing. Not too bad. And then look, next fight, war number 7, we have another Domino. Now this Domino is a 5-star, rank 5, and I think it's a SIG 200. No, SIG 110. So it was fairly close. That last one, the rank 3 one, was SIG 93. I'm going again, triple boosted. Don't want to take any chances on this. I want to try to get as much damage in and take as minimal amount of crit fail damage, which you're going to take, so you get extra health, and the health and attack boosts are going to help mitigate the damage that you are going to take. And we're just going to go and pretty much do the same kind of fight. Build up the rock stacks, eat the critical fail damage, try not to get hit, and then just kind of play this like a regular Domino fight with the knowledge that at 50% she's going to go back up recovery. So I'll let this one play out, and I'll see you at the end. Alright, we're closing out this fight now, and I've taken 40% damage just from crit fail. It's been a cleaner fight. But yeah, 40% damage for not taking any hits. That's not cool. But, you know, it's a few health potions. Now here we have a Mysterio. We had one of our guys go in and try to quake this. I think I was going to use... I had just more fights with Thing, and so he was trying to help out, and he unfortunately failed. And I think he tried twice. So I'm coming in cleanup, batting cleanup. I've done this fight before, and maybe I should have just done it. But yeah, you know, you live and you learn. It's all right. And here he gets off his L1, which is not ideal. Got to work out that reflection stage. You don't want to hit him because you don't want to take any damage that he's just going to heal back. But man, I just cannot get him to stop throwing the L1 compared to the last time. Now I'm cornered, and we're going to try to kill this dude off before he throws another L1, and we do, and we take some chip damage, but get him down, and looks like we got some one attack bonus. And next up we got an Annihilus. So I haven't seen this guy up until this point in this, but I'm like, yeah, Thing should do well. He can nullify his rod with his specials, and then you can easily parry and all that while the rod is down. And yeah, Thing is just a really good counter to Annihilus. You're gonna get, you know, some of the parries that fail, and you're gonna get those obliterated debuffs on you, which are gonna heal you a little bit with willpower, but just gotta keep out for triggering that unstoppable. And so far I'm just kind of like, okay, this is going not as good as I thought, because I thought I'd be able to get more parries in, but here we light him up with an L1, takes off the rod, and then I'm like, okay, here we go, but I eat that second part of that L1, and I think from here on out it's a pretty clean fight if I remember, and I think I'm just going to keep spamming the L1 to keep the rod down. There, we get a clean evade, and his L1 is easy to evade. You just got to get that spacing. I just pretty much do a triple dex and get all the way backed up, and then you can easily go back in and counter. Now he's gonna go to backup recovery very soon. So push him right over, kind of stall and make sure that he can't get to L2, just because I haven't figured out how to evade that entirely and do it cleanly. I'm just gonna block it, so might as well just keep pushing to L1 where you can fully evade it, minimize the damage that you're gonna take. And yeah, the super nice thing is you don't have to deal with power stack on this node. And yeah, we're just gonna keep spamming the L1 because I just want that rod nullified and not have to deal with the unstoppable. And yeah, Annihilus is going down pretty smooth. I do get clipped there again on that second part of the L1. Kind of just throw an L1 right into his face, intercept that, and he's going to go down here very, very shortly. And yeah, our rank 2 Annihilus down by Thing again on the power snack. Decent fight. Needed not get hit on those L1s though. Alright, now here we got a Longshot. This is ward number 11, and I'm going with Thing again, of course, just because he is a beast on this node for pretty much almost every matchup, especially Mystics. And now Longshot, I was just kind of planning on keeping him to his L1, because I should have read the abilities ahead of time, but I was thinking that I didn't want to push to L2 and then get a ton of incinerates, but the incinerates are tied to the Fate Seal, which will nullify, I believe. So I don't think and I'd have to confirm this with some gameplay, or somebody can confirm this for me, but I don't think Longshot can incinerate on L2 against Thing, just because Thing can't be nullified and or fate sealed, right? I think fate seal is part of that, and so because of that, he's not going to be able to apply any of the incinerates on. But I just kept on trying to keep pushing him to L1, simply because his L1's fairly easy to evade, I believe, in my mind, compared to the L2. L2 is pretty easy too. But here I'm just trying to bait out the L1s, and he is just not having it. And I think at some point I end up pushing him to an L2, and then I didn't get any incinerates on me. I'm like, maybe I should just not even worry about which special I'm pushing him to. And I'm holding on to this L3 just like as an insurance in case I do get backed up, which I'm slowly getting backed up just because this guy's kind of being a pain in the butt. With throwing his specials, he's not being as aggressive as I would have hoped. And then, I mean, this guy is just, yeah, we're definitely getting backed up now. He's just not having it. Yeah, it's just, when the AI goes like that, it's just really frustrating. I do get clipped on that L1. And this guy does have a little bit of Mystic Dispersion, which is going to feed him some power when I do those dex evades to get the crit precision buff. And he's almost to 50%. We push him over, backup recovery triggers, and at some point I'm pretty certain I do push to L2, but I don't have any, like the karma and stuff isn't, at least there's not a lot on me right now, simply because you gotta hit him, and I'm just trying to dance party right now. Okay, now it goes into a heavy, and now I'm cornered, and here we go, and nothing. And so what the special 2 is based on each buff and bad karma removed by fate seal. So there wasn't any bad karma, so I didn't get any incinerates on that because I didn't have any up. Yeah, I'd have to try and see if I can't like duel this guy and see if I can't get incinerated and try on purpose. But push him to L2 again. I triggered the protection just in case I did get incinerated. The incinerates would be minimized, and we're just gonna finish this dude off with an L3 and get out of this fight. So I got clipped a couple times, like twice on L1s, but overall not too bad of a fight. I think with power snack, like that would be a nasty fight, especially if you weren't using an incinerate immune. Could be troublesome. Okay, now here is redemption time. This is the last war of the season. We have to win this war. If we win this war, we have a pretty good chance of getting into Platinum 1. And this is a rank 3 6-star Sig 990 Doom. And you can see I am boosted to the max. 30% big boy health and attack, 25% health, 15% attack. And I go in with a regen because I know I'm going to take block damage and whatnot. So I just figured I'd use that over an indestructible and take as much block damage towards the beginning of the fight as possible. Trying to build up those furies and the rock stacks, and I get clipped on the L1. It's just like when I started out with that, I'm like, oh, come on. I just got to be able to evade these stupid L1s. And get clipped again. But luckily, the damage has not been too terrible. I've offset a lot of getting clipped and the block damage with that regen boost. I'm still at 93%. I got a good amount of destructibles on him there. Finally get a clean evade. This guy does have Mystic Dispersion, but I don't think it's 2. I think it's probably like a 2 out of 5. I have to look on this next trigger. And I'm just trying to get this guy to throw a special, go back in. Yeah, it's probably 2 out of 5, maybe 3 out of 5. It's not a ton. I get clipped by the L1 again, but we're about even as far as damage. I'm at 77, he's at 78. Hit him with an L2, stun him, go back in. He's definitely got like max limber because those stuns were not lasting significantly long. And this is just a long, drawn out battle just between us, and trying to still keep those destructibles on. So trying to parry. I do have max, what is it? Max Petrify, which reduces, when max is going to reduce the power gained while under stunned by 30%. So when I can hit him while he's stunned, it will minimize the amount of power he's going to gain. Even with like the Mystic Dispersion, it's going to reduce that a little bit. And here I'm just trying to get him to keep throwing those special ones because I just feel like those are easier to evade, yet I just keep getting clipped. And I'm probably just, it's just that in the moment, finally, oh, this sucked. So I was cornered. I get clipped by the L1. I had 3 bars of power. He stole it and got to almost 3 bars of power himself. And now I'm in the hole. I'm trying to dig myself back out. He is throwing his specials. I keep getting clipped by his specials at the very end. It's just, this is not ideal, but better than getting like combo to the face like I did in like the first one in this video. But we're almost back to even, and I have this 3 bars of power, and so long as he doesn't steal it again, I should be okay. But I'm just keeping a hold of that in case I need to just like finish him off or get spacing in the corner. So as long as he keeps throwing special ones, I should be good to go. We're at 3 destructibles. Now we're going to be at 1, and I'm like, oh, come on. Can I squeeze this out? It's 30 to 20%. I'm almost in Assassin's range. Throw off a heavy, trigger protection. I probably should have been triggering protection more often. And I think that would have helped minimize some of the damage that I have taken in this fight. I just need to keep that in mind. But I know a lot of times, like, I'll trigger the protection to protect myself, and then it wears off, and then the AI has stalled, and yeah, it's just so here I go, 5% left. I'm hoping that this L3 will kill this dude because he's at 2+ bars of power, and it does. I'm not sure how much damage it would have done. Could I have been at like 10% and done it? I don't know. Doom is really tanky, but I survived, got the solo, full attack bonus. The war went well. We end up taking P1. It was a good season. Thanks for watching, fellas. See you in the next one.